So first we will go to the existing need for this standardized learning architecture. Slowly, as I discussed, there was the shift towards e-learning in all major educational institutions. This was pioneered in Australia, and then it caught on to Europe and Americas, and then it came on to Asia. Now, this introduction of ICT-based curriculum at school level was brought about initially to enable the students in the school to gain or explore knowledge through internet. So they were given access to these documents haphazardly, which they can Google or search on the internet, or you can even have installable applications which are installed in the desktop right at the workstation. You don't need an internet connection for that. And the students would actually access these informational documents, and they could learn more about the subject they have been studying. This started majorly at the college level in the major institutions like MIT and Caltech, and then it percolated to all schools also. That was when it was realized that there is a need for a globalized learning material instead of haphazard material. Like, you don't have to search for something in order to learn about it. The student should be recommended what to learn. For example, if a student of physics is doing something on field theory or something as trivial as the laws of motion, the student should be recommended what to learn, what further to study, where he can find it, what all to log on, etc., etc. Now, all this is not possible in internet. For example, if you want to search something on the laws of motion on the internet, you will first open Google or your favorite search engine, Bing, Google, whatever it is, and then type in the words, the 3 laws of motion, right? Then it will throw up a lot of documents, which are HTML-based documents, that contain these words as the keywords. Now, there is necessarily no correlation between these 3 words and the topic discussed there. It could be a story that is called the 3 laws of motion, but it will still be thrown up in your search. So, this is not relevant to your search. What we are doing right now is an arbitrary search. There is no recommendation. You are actually using your own resources to search for these 3 laws of motion. Unlike this current scenario that I presented to you, how would it be if a student, let's say a student of a school-going child, if he is recommended, look, you have to study these documents first. These are most relevant to your level of knowledge. They are not too scholarly, they are not digressing off the topic, they are just right for you. The student would feel really wonderful in reading these documents, and there would be joy in trying to research and learn more about this particular subject. So that is where we feel the need for a globalized learning material where it is compiled and brought together and recommended to the searcher, the person who wants to learn. In this session, we will be addressing the students or the people who want to learn as the learners. We will also be addressing the objects that are used to impart learning as the learning objects. Now, the learning objects could be books, documents, papers, videos, webinars, or even audio lectures. Now, slowly as ICT caught on, that is Internet and Communication Technology caught on, people began creating their own systems to deliver the education. It could be need-based development of the system. For example, let's take an example, university. This university had the need of combining a hybrid model where the classes are taught in the classroom by a teacher, but there will be some extra lectures given on the weekends. Now, these weekend lectures could be given through either an audio system or a video system like the webinar that we are using, GoToMeeting, or something totally different where 4 people come together and the teacher sits on his own computer, he logs on to the Skype or some such meeting, MSN meeting or such meeting application, and then he could teach these 4 or 5 students or the group of students who will be signing in. It all depends upon how evolved the lecture could be. On the flip side, there could be a university which doesn't have any classrooms at all, but it only imparts knowledge through virtual media, which is through webinars or through internet. So they have a need for a highly specialized application where the students can interact with the teachers. Sometimes they might want to actually see the teacher's face while the lecture is being delivered so that the impact is greater. Then the teacher may feel the need of demonstrating some application or some experiment if it's a chemistry or a physics or such subject. And there could also be a need for the students to ask questions and the teacher to answer. Now that could be in between also or at the end of the session. Just like as I said at the beginning of this session, I'll take all your questions at the end. But there may be a session where the need is right in the middle or as and when the topic is being taught. So it all depends upon the need for the university or the need for the educational training institution. So different kinds of information models working with e-learning environment have cropped up. Each has its own environment depending upon the legacy systems. Each has its own requirements and its own architecture. Now, all these are existing in their own localized worlds. They cannot communicate with each other. Why? Because of the universal problem of lack of communication between the architecture. When such a situation arose, it was seen that it would be more informational, it would be more advantageous to have these systems communicate with each other. Let us say there's a class or a course going on in MIT and one going on in Caltech parallelly on machine learning. The same lecturer is taking the classes here as well as in that university, which is across the country. However, he has to create the course again for the portal on Caltech, and similarly he has to create the course on the portal for MIT. It doesn't really make sense because he may have to customize the course according to the need of the portal. So that's double effort for the professor. What could have been simpler is if he could have reused the material from wherever he has first delivered the lecture. Like if he has given it in MIT, if he could use it in Caltech, it would have been very easy for him. In addition, he could have actually created extra material with the time that he has saved. So reuse is one big option for globalization of this e-learning environment. Similarly, let's say if there are researchers collaborating and working on the same topic or the same research idea, it would be best if they could correlate or collaborate with each other, even if it is across the globe. Somebody in Israel wants to do Zurich, for example, IBM Zurich labs, wants to do something with the CERN lab. If that particular researcher can actually share the material as well as the resources that CERN can offer, it would actually help the whole research lab a lot more rather than going to CERN physically and doing his research work. So this kind of sharing is enabled only if the systems, the e-learning or the educational systems, can talk to each other. Now, that talking or communication can only take place if they all speak the same language. For example, if I start teaching this particular webinar in some other language like Chinese, not many of you would really understand. So it would be a waste of the entire effort. So the applications also, the e-learning applications should also try to speak the same language. They did not have the same language to speak. Some were created on Corba, some were created on .NET, some were created on Java. There was a lack of a design model for organizing these materials. Then the selection and distribution of this learning material was also different for different types of systems. For example, the system created by me would be something totally different. It would be implementing the LMS in a different way to something that has been done by someone else. There were various standards that were being used as per immediate and required need. There was also a lack of implementable architecture to define how to combine the information with the component models. And these solutions were all localized, as I just explained. So these localized solutions were not really conducive to global collaboration. There was no global library, there was no global repository of courses. That is when the thought of globalization of all these e-learning architecture came into existence. Several institutions came together to form a collaborative effort where they wanted to provide standard specifications, which means all the systems had to comply to a certain standard. For example, they will agree to a specific kind of system, and these were the minimum kinds of collaborative standards that each e-learning system has to follow, or else it will have the risk of being isolated. Also, they should make provisions to be interoperable between the information systems and the underlying platform. Your platform could be anything, but the information you provide or the information you require from other systems should be globalized. Now, this should seamlessly integrate component architecture and the heterogeneous systems with the information model. Now, we also wanted to propose an open or closed distributed architecture. Not everybody would like to develop their own applications. Some might want to use open architecture also. So it should work, whatever global standards that we are bringing should work with open or closed distributed architecture. Now, we also needed to identify common software services which are mandatory for such an e-learning domain. Now, in this webinar, whenever we refer to the information model, we refer to all the learning objects that are required to deliver an educational content. And whenever we refer to a distributed architecture or some heterogeneous system, we refer to all the underlying architecture or the system that runs these information models. There were certain limitations to all this collaborative effort of e-learning platforms. Now, in this webinar, we cannot, the scope is limited, we cannot talk about web-enabled multimedia systems. We do not talk about cloud-based document management systems or educational systems. We do not include semantic web search or relevant web search. So we are eliminating knowledge discovery systems. We need more time and in fact more educational content before we go on to talk about this. And this webinar also does not touch about digitalization procedures of various learning objects. When we mean digitalization procedures, we talk about there are a lot of paper-based material existing currently. A lot of documents which are archived in various libraries all over the world, which need to be converted into a digitalized format, a standard digitalized format, to be actually put on the web or the e-learning platform. The organizations who have taken up the initiative is IEEE, US Department of Defense, European Commission and UNESCO. The topics covered in this particular webinar will be a hybrid learning architecture for multimedia, an e-learning pedagogy, a functional architecture to build a standard-driven, distributed and interoperable learning system. Now, starting off with the web-based training.